Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tina Greer Talk Show, Small Business Conversations. I am
Mhm.
excited that you guys have joined us this evening. Hello, hello.
Yes.
I know we're gonna look. Somebody already coming in. We are super excited. We got folks coming in already. We're gonna let the YouTube bring folks in. We're gonna let Facebook bring folks in, and the private group, the Blueprint to Winning Government Contracts. You guys come on in the room, as my good friend like to say. Come on in the room. So
Yes. Come on, guys.
yes, yes, I'm super excited. Again, my name is Tina Greer of Greer Business Solutions. We have someone saying hi, friends, and I am so excited for an honor to have our special guest for today. And let me just tell you a little bit about Dr. Deborah Johnson-Blake, aka Dr. J. So
Good.
she is the CEO of the Writing Pad, and which is a writing, editing, and consulting firm focused on proofreading, editing, and customized writing. She is an award-winning assistant professor at Liberty University, a subject matter expert with expertise in servant leadership and management, and a dissertation chair. Dr. DJ is a dissertation content specialist and reader at Concordia University. And look, she has so many accolades, and she's also a best-selling author, might I add. She has so many accolades. I take the whole time explaining who we have today in the chair with us at the Tina Greer Talk Show. And what I want to talk about today, or what we'll be discussing today, is one of her expertise, one of her specialties, which is time management. And we're going to talk about it as it relates to government contracting as well. So before I go any further, let me introduce to you guys Dr. Deborah Johnson-Blake, aka Dr. DJ. Welcome to the Tina Greer Talk Show.
Oh, thank you so much, Tina. Hello, everyone out there. It is an honor to be here. I appreciate you inviting me. And I'm just happy to share a little bit about time management as it relates to government contracts and, overall, really, as well. So, yes, thank you.
You are so welcome. So tell us in regards, we're going to talk about time management. I know you have expertise in so much, and I want to talk about time management and as it relates to government contracts. And the reason why I want to talk about that today is that we have a lot of government contractors, especially in the blueprint, that are new to government contracting. And
Mhm.
I want to make sure they understand the importance of staying on track, especially when they're going after government contracts, preparing their
Yeah,
proposals and bids and so forth. You have to kind of lay out a framework as it relates to time. Because again, with the government contracting industry, if they tell you if a proposal is due on a certain date and a certain time with that date, you have to make sure that you get it done. And
absolutely.
so, can you share some thoughts on time management when it relates to that type of environment that individuals? I know you have experienced that as well throughout your career. Can you kind of tell us about that?
Sure, and especially if you're new to contracting. If we have some seasoned professionals, I know you guys know what to do, but I'm gonna say the first thing to do is plan. You can't do anything without planning. That is very important. You're planning your tasks, you're planning the people and the human resources that's going to be on your team. You're also planning the processes. So before you can move forward, you got to have a plan first and foremost. But what else is crucial, very crucial, is determining how long is it going to take you to do some of those tasks that's in that proposal. You know,
Right.
so are,
Mhm.
are you going to be able to fulfill it? So can you do it? You know, And so with that, you also have to determine what those immediate deadlines are that's going to require your attention. It's almost like starting with the end in mind and coming back to try to figure out if you and your team are the right fit for it and if you can actually meet all of the deliverables. Of course, accessing financial impact is very, very important when it comes to developing your proposal for that, whether or not that task is going to reap a better ROI for you. So still delineating all of the finances is associated with it, as well as establishing whether those tasks rely on other tasks, because there's some, staircase and step in there that before you can do this, you have to do this. And your team needs to be aware of that. And so not even having that, communication, of course, is important too. Otherwise, likewise, you also need to know who are those internal and external stakeholders that's going to be associated with the project. So knowing what your goals are, your deadlines, I mean, that's just a snapshot of what you need to do. Of course, we would sit down and you could talk about that. But in the meantime, you also have to know that schedule too, Tina. You got to have a schedule.
That is true. Let me, you just dropped so much knowledge in a short time frame. So when you talk about time management as it relates to, let's say, a capture plan where you have a calendar and you have certain things that need to be done at certain times of the month in order to, let's say you have 30 days to get it done, right? You talked about the end in mind, 30 days to produce that proposal or that bid. And then you talk about, I think you said stakeholders. Let's say you have other people on your team. You have other people that's outside and not in your control in regards to, they may be subcontractors that are working with you to meet that deadline. And you know how it is. Everybody works differently as far as priorities. Talk about priorities.
Yeah, priorities are very important, as we know. And when I am scheduling something like that, I have to schedule that lag time in there. So when I'm looking at everything and looking at my priorities and depending on external stakeholders, because the internal stakeholders are my team who I might can control a little bit, but lag time. So I'm not going to give somebody a task that I know, let's say I might need it tomorrow. I might tell them that, but I might have 3 to 5 days lag time in there because I'm trying to make sure that I prioritize accordingly and make sure that comes in, especially if I know how that individual works. And not saying that's a bad thing. You know how your partners work, so you give them tasks based on their abilities. So prioritizing is, of course, very important.
Let's stop. Let's talk about that right now in regards to prioritizing. When you bring in a team of subcontractors and you are responsible for pulling all the information together, you're the last person that's going to view everything. Now, how can you communicate the value or the urgency of people doing their part at that time? Because remember, you're ultimately responsible. And tell us and talk about, in regards to just managing time, some of the ramifications when you don't manage time. What could happen in that process? Because I know I've been through it before. You have any stories to share with us?
Oh my goodness, I do. But first, communication is very, very important. Clear and effective communication for anything for you to develop that proposal and hopefully get it in the office. I had a personal experience one time. I think we maybe had maybe a week to do it. So of course you're already stressed out with a 7-day timeline and really a 5-day work week unless you're working over. And working with an external stakeholder, working with some internal partners, we're trying to get this proposal done. It was multi-level pages and attachments. Okay, so we're working it, and I'm dependent on somebody else. And guess what? That other piece didn't come in. Even
Oh,
at the 11th hour, well, almost at the 11th hour, guys, maybe like 2 to 3 hours before it's due, it came, which is fine. Okay, I'm working it out. We're working it out. So guess what? It comes time to copy all those extra pieces that we need. The copier malfunctions, guys. This is what I'm talking about with that lag time and making sure that everybody's on the same page, because my priority is not someone else's priority.
right.
Even if we're in the same organization.
Right.
And you know what, Tina? Unfortunately, we did not get that proposal in on time. Even though I had enough time to get to that office, there's traffic, Atlanta traffic that you have to account for. There's parking. I'm running out the car. My driver who's a colleague, is, going around in circles so I can get in there. And you're not going to believe this. 3 minutes after.
Wow.
Door lock. Can't come in. So time management, priority.
Yeah. Let's talk about
time management and priorities are important.
Yes, indeed. So let's talk about right there when that is the importance of government contracts. She had it's like a case study, if you will, where there was a certain date on that solicitation. It said the proposal is due, let's say January 15th at 4 p.m.
Yes.
Anything after that time, they are not going to evaluate. And it was an instance where she drove it to that she was able to take it hand carry it to that particular agency for submission. And you see, she said the door was locked. A couple minutes after that time frame, they closed the door, meaning that it was late. Could you imagine the time and effort that you spent and allocated labor hours, right?
Absolutely.
And all of that is money. It costs to
time
put
and money
together. That was lost. And that happens. That happens to a lot of government practice. Doesn't matter if you're going for, competitive bids, grants, or whatever. If they tell you a deadline, that is something that you have to adhere to, and sometimes people take it for granted and let information sit on a desk while you're waiting on information. Because I've had that happen to me, to where I had to do almost like the matrix, a domino, go back and go, get the information and quickly try to turn it around so it can get to that final person in order for them to submit it. That is so stressful. So, that is one of just.
It was so disheartening.
Very, very, especially when you knew that you could win that contract.
We had a good chance.
And I want to make sure we got our listeners out there. Can you understand the importance of what we're talking about in regards to time managing your time when you're working on projects? Can you guys, if you can relate, just talk to me and say, yes, I can relate. But this is real talk, guys. We're talking about, look at it, 6-7 figures at any time, organizations losing out on opportunities.
And, sometimes, Tina, that also impacts not getting that proposal, and also impact the culture, impacted the decision making throughout the process, because you got the grant application a week before it was due. Everybody should be on the same page, especially when, delegation is coming from the top. Unfortunately, it was not. Yeah.
Wow. You're hitting home, not just case study, but real life. The delegation from the top. I'm not going to say anything about that, But when everybody is not on the same page, you can see where chaos can come in and confusion.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, it's time management has that ripple effect, as well. So when you're preparing for those bids, that ripple effect is huge, and that kind of that's what happened to me, and I'm sure some other people as well, because if you're not a good time manager, it impacts the entire team and the entire process during that bidding process. You know what I mean? But that's why I still go back to communication is critical, very important. Lack of effective communication could cause more anguish than anything.
Wow.
Another thing is lack of skills.
Oh my goodness.
Have you noticed that in your, the lack of skills?
Oh,
everybody doesn't have the skill set.
Yeah, some people can work quickly. Some will take a little bit longer too because of experience. You're actually right. I got a question here. So let me tell you guys.
Oh, wonderful.
I have a question here. I have it on one of my devices. And I mean, we got out, so he's like, you got this device on, that device on, and then the main
wonderful
producer. I'm a producer now, you know that.
You are a producer. I love it. The Tina Grill Show, and she's a producer.
Put that in my credits.
Please do.
Rolling credits soon. Okay, so let me see here. One of the questions we have is from Vonda. Hey, ladies, how long does it typically take to receive a government contract? Do they all have different timelines after submitting? And let me answer that in regards to it. Definitely chime in. Yes, there is not a when you actually are submitting for a proposal in order to win a contract, it may tell you the time frame of when they're going to anticipate an award, but then sometimes you don't know. It may go over that amount. So it's not like a standard in the industry on when you can anticipate them actually putting an award out. But you do have kind of a time frame. If it's something very quick, they may say after 15 days after submission, no questions, so on and so forth. And then they're going to just, select someone without any questions. So it really depends. And sometimes they lay that out in the solicitation. You want to add or say anything about that?
I think you've answered that for the most part, because it does vary. So yeah, you answered that perfectly.
Right. So so each one will be very different. That's why one of the things I always tell my clients is that when you're going after an opportunity, it is so important to read it, reread it, read it again, and then go back and read it and highlight and mark up and make notes and everything to make sure you understand what the requirements are.
I also like to take that application and even do it in bullet points, each line by line. So I make sure that I don't miss it under each category. So I make sure that we do everything that we need to do as well. And I see, I don't know if you see this one. I see M. Russell just made a couple of comments about managing time, of course, is important in the bid process. And of course, if somebody is not good with time management at last minute, we shouldn't have them on the team. But sometimes we don't have a choice who's going to be on the team. And that's unfortunate. And so then you have to think about their strengths and their weaknesses and what tasks you're going to give them to make sure that we can, submit this proposal on time.
Right. And you know what? And it also goes into when you have individuals that are on your team that maybe not up to par, especially it's a quick turn. Do you feel, and let's talk about management style. In that scenario, micromanagement. I don't like to be micromanaged, but in that scenario, when you have a hard deadline, which government contracts, you have a hard deadline. What are your thoughts about micromanagement in regards to making sure people get things done on time?
Yeah, I think we all don't like to be micromanaged, but once you know how you work, sometimes it's helpful. So in this case, yes, I'm going to micromanage. I'm going to make sure that you've done this, this, and this. And it's okay, because in the long run, our whole objective is to be a good contender for the proposal. So yes, I'm going to micromanage it. I'm going to send you some notifications. I'm going to put it on the calendar. I'm going to tag you, all of that. And you know what, Tina? This stems from another incident in my life, which is why I even started doing time management. So I'm always extra cautious.
Our listeners want to know.
this is years ago. I was in my 20s, and I had aspired to be an attorney, and then was going that paralegal route first to make sure that that was something I wanted to do. And worked with a great firm, great guy, great team. And unfortunately, for one of our cases, there's a statute of limitations. And I haven't been in a legal field in years, so I don't know if it's changed or not, but it was 2 years to file a claim if you have an accident. That's typically it. You got a 2-year statute of limitation. So in the meantime, you are going back and forth with the insurance company, right? Trying to figure out if you can settle. But what happened was, in all the cases, I would actually have my complaints prepared and ready the closer we got to the date of almost the statute of limitations. Well, guess what? We missed it. And the insurance company is not going to call you the day before and say you got one more day.
Right.
They're going to call you the day after and tell you you missed it. And I was in charge of that. And, I think I was like 26 years old, first major job. I was.
Oh, you said major job?
First major job.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
Yes. And so with that, that got me thinking about time management. So, and even when I worked on my master's, I did my thesis on time management. My doctoral study was about time management and nonprofit administrators and their perceptions of time. So time has followed me for over 30 years. And in the last 5 years, I've even been more focused on it with, my time management tips, facilitating time management classes. So yeah, it's deep. It goes deep with me. And you didn't know that.
No, I think so. That is what drives you to make sure that people understand the importance of time management, because you don't want them to experience what you went through.
Not at all. Not at all.
Wow. I tell you, we got in the trenches today. We learned some hidden secrets about the power of time management.
And we have too many tools, electronic tools and otherwise, to keep us on task. The software for project management, all of that. So if if you're going to be in this space, have all of the tools that you need to be successful.
Wow. That is amazing. So let's talk about, we have discussed so much in a all over in regards to what occur as a result of lack of time management. And then also tell us about if you do it right, meaning that you went in there and everyone has followed your tips, your strategies on effective time management. Could you tell us like in regards to if you're in the bidding process, what kind of the pros about that in regards to the team cohesiveness when you're doing it right? Sometimes we fail forward because we don't know exactly what to do. We're trying to figure it out as we go. But if you have the right tools in place, effective time management, knowing exactly what you're going for, everybody's doing their part, a good team cohesiveness, tell us what can happen when you do it right.
Well, when you do it, okay, there's no guarantee for anything, of course, we know that. But when you do it right, you have a solid proposal there in front of you. You followed all of the guidelines, you met the timelines, meaning getting it to them on time. When you do that, you have a good chance of having your proposal read and go to the next level. Also, believe it or not, it helps with your team camaraderie as well. So when you even apply for future grants and proposal, everybody will have a better idea of what they need to do to be successful. So even if you didn't win the award, that's okay. I know it may not sound like that right then, but every step you take is a learning process to get you to that letter that says, hey, you have been awarded. But what happens is in that case, and I believe you had a guest on that talked about this, that also comes with building the relationships. So even throughout the process of working on a proposal and you're building relationships with the agency in between, that could help as well. No guarantees, but that can help as well. So, You just have to be respectful of time management overall, because if you don't, the cost is time and money. Just like we said,
Right.
we didn't make that proposal. It's time and money for everything.
Time and
And that
money.
impacts every single thing in the contract bidding world, of course. And being detailed oriented and prioritizing. So that's all part of that process. And when you're putting that package together, you have to cross your T's and dot your I's. You have to have someone else look at that whole proposal and application that's not close to it, because if there's any challenges, issues, errors, they'll be able to see it quicker than you because you've been so close to the project.
Right. And that is so true, to have the quality, what we call quality
Good
control.
control, yes.
It's always good to have another pair of eyes look at it, because we're so intimate with the information, it's easy to oversee stuff. Maybe be something very simple. And as a result, many government contractors have lost contract opportunities because they overlooked something because they were rushing. They
Yes.
allocate the amount of time. They may have missed a signature block where they had to sign off and agree to that proposal per the requirements in that solicitation. And as a result, what happened? They were kicked out because they didn't follow the directions. But it could have been a more oversight because they were rushing, trying to
Absolutely.
get it done without really taking time to really understand the quality control aspect, which you should put that allocation of time within your management of that proposal or that project. So,
Absolutely.
go ahead.
I was going to say absolutely. You're right. I'm sorry. Yes.
No, that is so true. So I just, want to make sure that everybody understands, because I mean, you have sleep. This is what happens when you don't do it right. Sleepless nights. You have attitude with your team members because somebody dropped the ball. They supposed to have got you sent you the document last week, and it's sitting in their inbox. And no one has looked at it, no one has reviewed it, but yet you are ultimately responsible for submitting that proposal. How do you think that's going to make you feel? You're going to be very frustrated and sometimes just pissed off because they're not doing their part. So even when you come together with other companies as a team or a team, you have to understand, and everybody has to be on board with managing their time for
Absolutely.
projects, period, in order to be
Period.
successful.
And you can have that discussion at the onset when you're meeting initially, and get all the guidelines, out on the table and the expectations, especially if you have a short window of opportunity to submit. So
Right.
very, very important. So that's line by line. You hate to, handhold somebody, but especially if they're not as seasoned, but you have to if you want to attempt to achieve success. Yes.
That is so true. So, guys, let's see. If you have any questions, please type your questions in the comment section, and we're going to answer some questions at this time. I'm hoping that you did gain valuable nuggets from Dr. DJ today in regards to the importance of time management when you're handling your projects and execution, as well as when you're proposing for contract or grant submission. It's very important that you put some respect on that time.
Time. And
So,
I just can't say it enough. Communicate, communicate, communicate. It's very important when you're working with the team. Very important. And I say that because one of the challenges, that prevented us from having our proposal read. And this is the kicker. If you're communicating with someone who's above your rank, that's going to be a challenge too, because you don't have a right to tell them that you need this right now. Yes, we do, and you do it in a professional manner. But a lot of times, like I told you, my priority is not their priority, even though this may be for the whole company as a whole. That's a challenge too, and it's a frustrating one.
wow. So it's a point of, even though when I was saying I was like frustrated, pissed off, but I cannot let that person know that. I have to still be very professional
Professional.
and really have tact in how I deliver my message on the importance of getting.
Absolutely. 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 So when I say communication, it's just you're not being, it's all professional, not unprofessional. No matter who the person is, you have to talk to about, what's needed. Um, but I will never forget that.
I think we all have war stories, and they kind of, when you look away, you start to feel like, oh, it starts to what it
I
felt
feel
like.
some kind of way. I'm gonna tell you on live TV, it made me cry. Mm, mm, mm.
Oh, I've been there. I've
It
been,
made me cry. I just cried in my office.
yeah,
Mm, mm, mm.
because
So
you do so much. You do so much, and you want to be very successful and everybody to win, and you give it your all. But sometimes it doesn't work out, due to a lot of different moving pieces. There could be a lot of different moving pieces, so that's why it's important. So everybody, that everybody is on the same page. Um,
absolutely, absolutely.
and so forth.
Yeah, and that was Monique Russell. It said M. Russell, no picture. I can see some of the comments.
Oh,
Good point. Team effort during the proposal shows the level of effort during the project. Absolutely. And I think we probably all have missed a signature block on something not as important as a proposal, but something you're signing, you go back and say, oh, I didn't sign this page here. Which is why, when you have these other people, I got my little signature stickers, sign here, sign there,
right.
insert this, everything that's needed to make a better package and make sure that we follow all of the instructions. Because following instructions is very, very important. A lot of times we don't read everything, okay, which means we don't follow the instructions. Simple.
That is so true. That is so true. And
Yes,
ultimate the ultimate feeling you want to have, or feeling of accomplishment, is that okay, we are ready to submit this proposal with a day or two lag, meaning everything's been checked, rechecked, it's been printed, and so forth. Now we can just hold it for just a moment and then submit it if we have to take it to
yes,
FedEx, or if we have to hand carry it, or even if we have to email it, it's what we call it, it's on the
that's
shelf.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right. I
You
mean,
know,
you like to, underestimate and over deliver. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
When you're working on
yes,
projects like that.
yes,
And
definitely,
yeah,
indeed. I think it was one. Let me just share with one of mine was. I think in regards to this is a case study where I worked on a proposal, and let's say it was due at that office, hand carry, 5 o'clock. And the proposal, again, the whole scenario, sitting on someone's desk, you got to hurry, and then the next person got to hurry to do their part, and then you got to get a piece from that person and the other piece from that person. We actually submitted it. It was due at 5 Eastern time. It actually was time stamped at 4:59.
whew,
Multi-million
stressful.
project.
Yes, 4:59. You got it
4:59.
in, but that's
Yeah.
stressful. That's a lot of anxiety going on.
Yes. Yes. And then
And
and the ripple effect of that. Let me take it even further, because you let's say it's a recompete, so you're recompeting for that existing work, and as a result, people are depending upon you to win that contract again, so they can stay employed. So we're gonna go a bit deeper on the community impact of what happens if you drop the ball. Somebody is gonna lose their job tomorrow. In
yeah,
essence, some got are not gonna have that wage that they had from that contract from previous, because compete time. And because somebody dropped the ball, then their chances of losing their job, especially if they're in upper management, is really high. They're going to get rid of management first. They may keep the lower level workers because they know how to do
hmm
the job. Management, they're going to bring their own management team in for that contract. So I really want to stress the importance of having, the ducks in a row in regards to communication. We got some comments here from Ms. Monique Russell. Oh wow! And look, going back to the nitty picks of how a government agent on the evaluation, how they can really kick you out. It
Of a
just
comma.
is. How come? I
A
mean,
comma.
that's really nitpicking for real. But they can
That
do
is nitpicking.
it for missing a comma. Yeah, yeah. And then
Because everybody don't put their commas in the same place.
no,
And
if
I'm
they
not talking about regular grammatical,
no,
language. I'm just talking about in general.
yeah, right. But that can definitely happen. So it's just amazing. Again, sleepless nights. Yeah,
Thank you, Nick.
development,
Mhm.
not full time management is key. That
Very essential. Very essential.
so
Being
guys,
organized, prioritizing, all of it. Building in that lag time, as we say, and that's what I really like to do when you're working with someone else. Period. Point blank. I'm not giving them that drop dead deadline.
don't never do
Because
that.
anything can happen, the unexpected, and we want to be prepared for it so we can be proactive about it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So I think that, oh my gosh, it's seven. Look, we have went over. We've been talking and we
Uh-oh.
wow.
I love
Okay.
it.
Okay, we got a really good question. I got to answer this question.
Okay.
What should you do if you learn of a solicitation under time constraints? A 2-day turnaround. Should you
Mhm.
pass or stress? That is going to, let me answer that. I'm going to give you a chance to answer. I think that's going to depend upon how much information you have readily available, already kind of prepared, that you know for sure that you can do the work. And maybe it's something that you can quickly put together. It depends upon that complexity of that project. So that is my answer. Dr. DJ, would you kind
And
of,
actually, I would concur with you too, Tina, because now if you have some templates, some shells around that, depending on what that category of service they're requesting, then you might can do it. But it all depends on what they are asking and what you have to compile, especially when you're going outside of your organization. Even if it's letters of recommendations, current ones, on letterhead from organizations. Sometimes that's not a quick turnaround all the time. So, yeah, 2 days
you're going to have to really,
depends.
if you can grab it, because you know how try to get a new recommendation in 2 days, you have to really have an intimate relationship with
Relationship.
that they could turn it around because everybody's doing their own thing as well. So you have to really see, is it a bid or no bid? That's an
Yeah.
evaluation factor. Can I really do it? Can I really submit this proposal on time? Will there be an extension? Request an extension if you can. Through ask the government official, can you extend, that opportunity to give you more time to prepare a compliant and winning proposal. Great question. Great.
Great question. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, and that's
Wow.
why, we would also like to have, we have already have compiled information relative to certain categories that we know we could bid on, so we can have a shell to work with and then do all the fillers, if possible, depending on what they're asking. We'll have that readily available too, especially if that's a large bid.
Yes, some templates, pre-prepared
Templates.
templates. So that is so key. So wow, I mean, time is winding down, and guys, I really want to thank Dr. DJ for sharing her expertise today, her strategies, and her tips and so forth. So if someone wants to know more information in regards to managing time on purpose, how can they do or
Yes, yes.
purchase one of your books? Tell us, how can they find you?
Yeah, so ironically, Managing Time on Purpose was my first book. But yeah, I don't know if you remember that or not. But you can find me on social media at Deborah Johnson-Blake. You can also find me at deborahjohnsonblake.com. You can also see my new book, 52 Time Management Hacks, on Amazon, which was a #1 bestseller when it came out. But my social media is at Deborah Johnson-Blake or D Johnson-Blake. I go by both. So I look forward to connecting with you. please, any challenges you may have, I might be able to help you.
That is so wonderful. I guys, I mean, look, I'm gonna get one more question in from Dr. Kim McNair. I'm like looking at my device.
Hey, Dr. Kim McNair.
She said, "Government contract, is it really hard? It's gonna be as hard as you want it to be. How about that? You gotta know what you are doing. We do, and actually, it's a segue to what I wanted to discuss because I'm a government contracts coach. That's one of the things I do. Work with those who are new to government contracting, teaching them how to find, bid, and win government contracts. And for those who are wondering, well, is this something that I could do? Or add as an additional stream to what I'm currently doing. I have a challenge that will be coming soon, which starts on Monday. A free challenge. Let me say that it is called Process to Profits, and this will be a perfect opportunity for you to find out if this government contracting, which is a $1 trillion industry, government buys everything. Say that, but I'm going to walk with you and show you the process of preparing your bid based upon what you want to market to the government. So this is a free 5-day challenge. I think that this would be perfect for those who are new to government contracting. Take advantage of this opportunity. I'm going to be sharing content,
Absolutely.
It's a lot of
Absolutely,
money to
Dr.
be
Kim.
made, right? It's a lot of money out there.
A lot of money. And they, like you said, they need every single thing, product, service that anybody else needs.
Right. And then like for instance, the opportunities when you were a part of the, bidding on for organizations, we're talking about millions of dollars that that you are bidding for, submitting bids and grants and proposals to get that money from.
Absolutely.
It's out there, but you just have to know what you're doing. So
Yes, and may I also say, it doesn't, it always doesn't have to be, we look at federal a lot, but local, state,
yeah,
which is what we were applying for training opportunities, So, hey,
yeah,
they want to get all of their, 5,000 employees trained, and that takes a lot to do that. So,
exactly.
and we don't have to do it by ourselves. That's why we had other contractors and stakeholders to work with us on that.
Exactly. And then
Subcontractors.
right, there's state, local, and federal opportunities out there, but you
Yes.
just have to know exactly, how to go about it, and that's why we're having the 5-day challenge. So definitely, I would encourage everybody that is listening to the show to go ahead and register, and you'll learn more when you register. But it starts Monday, and it'll be for 5 days. So perfect opportunity.
Exciting.
I mean, it's so before we end, oh look, we're gonna officially end. We are over our time.
I see.
But we're gonna officially end. Is there anything that you would like to say? Any closing remarks?
Yes, Tina, thank you so much. First of all, thank you for allowing me to be on this show to talk a little bit about time management, and especially as it relates to government bidding and contracts. But guys, I'm telling you, you can follow me on Tuesdays on Facebook, social media, and get some time management tips that could be helpful to you as you develop your proposals. Small little tidbits of information and slight tweaks and changes could just impact your life beautifully, personally and professionally. So thank you again, Tina. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to connecting to some of your viewers.
Awesome, guys. So thank you again for chiming in on the Tina Greer Talk Show, Small Business Conversations. And guys, you'll see me around because we're getting ready to start this challenge. It's on and popping. But I want to just really thank Dr. DJ for taking, just some moments of her time to share with our listeners here the value of time management. It can actually save you millions of dollars, guys, if you right. And jokes aside, you can save so much money if you really take to heart what she has expressed in regards to managing your business and managing opportunities and so forth. So again, thank you, Dr. DJ. And
Thank you. You're welcome.
You're welcome back at any time. So this concludes our episode 3.
Congratulations on your show too. The Tina Greer show. I love it. I've been watching.
Okay, awesome. So guys, take care. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye. Good night.